Biotechnology Chapter 1.
Good morning, children. Children, today I am going to introduce you class 12th biotechnology course. The first part of the biotechnology course is molecular biology. That is the part, not the chapter. But the first chapter is nucleic acid and protein synthesis. Now, in nucleic acid, we have to study bDNA. Then RNA. In RNA we are going to study mRNA, tRNA. In tRNA again two types, clover leaf model, L-shaped tRNA, then ultimately central dogma and protein synthesis. So first we are going to start with nucleic acid, and in that the main part in your course is bDNA. Now what do we mean by bDNA? bDNA are the double helical DNA whose helix winds towards right. Whose helix winds towards right. So let us study it in detail. It consists of, as usual, it consists of anti-parallel strands, 3' and 2, 5, and then 5' and 2, 3' end. These are two anti-parallel strands and are separated by distance of 20 angstrom. This is the distance between two strands, and they are connected by nitrogen base pairs. Children, you know what are nitrogen base pairs. You can say these are nucleotides. Nucleotides are, they are made up of, DNA is made up of nucleotides. Nucleotides are the building block of DNA made up of phosphate molecule, pentose sugar and nitrogenous bases. So these two strands are bonded with two nucleotides on in front of each other are bounded by hydrogen bond, and each nucleotide is bonded adjacently by phosphodiester bond. Phosphodiester bond is the bond between the one nucleotide, that is the third carbon of sugar, with the fifth carbon of the another sugar of the another nucleotide. This is called phosphodiester bond. These two bonds will be broken during DNA replication. Now the next important part of this structure is minor groove. This is the minor groove, and this large one is major groove. Now these two minor and major grooves, they form binding site for histone. Histone protein already in the basic class you have studied. What are histone proteins? Histone aptamers. So these grooves form the binding site for histone aptamer. That you have got the knowledge of that in nucleosome, the complex in which DNA binds around aptamer of histone molecule. Now the next important and the concluding part of this structure is, have you heard about Chargaff's rule? It's very important. Ask for 2 marks, maybe for 1 mark also in compulsory section. What is Chargaff rule, children? Chargaff rule means total number of adenine is equal to total number of thymine. These are the base pairs, and total number of guanine in one strand is equal to total number of cytosine on the another strand. This is called Chargaff's rule. Chargaff's rule is also called law of equilibrium. Chargaff rule is also called law of equilibrium. And then purine and pyrimidine, this adenine and guanine, they are called purine. This forms purine ring. Purine is double ring structure and pyrimidine is single ring structure, which is made up of thymine and cytosine. So this is all about your Chargaff rule. So remember, children, you are going, after drawing this diagram, you have to add in your notes about the distance between two strands, name of how is the hydrogen bond is formed, then what is phosphodiester bond, about these two groups, minor and major groups, ultimately Chargaff's law. The distance between two nucleotides is 3.4 angstrom. In class 12 children, numerical is asked on the distance, the length between two nucleotides. I will give you the idea of that numerical which is asked for. In MCQ they can be asked. In NCERT, that is, if the distance between two nucleotide is 3.4 angstrom, or the length between two nucleotide is 3.4 angstrom unit, then what will be the distance between 23 pairs? 23 base pairs. For that there is one formula, that is n minus 1 into 3.4. Therefore 23 minus 1 into 3.4, that is 22 into 3.4 is equal to 74.8 angstrom. Such numericals are asked in board examination related to DNA structure. So this is all about your bDNA. That is the first part of the first chapter of your nucleic acid. Student, now the second part of the chapter is semi-conservative method of DNA replication. In the last part, you people have studied structure of DNA. So now this topic will be slightly easy for you because you know all the parts of DNA or bDNA, isn't it? So the next part of the chapter is semi-conservative method of DNA replication. Why DNA replication is called semi-conservative method, that we will come to know in this chapter. That we will come to know in this topic. It is called semi-conservative method of DNA replication because when the newly formed DNA is observed, one old strand is conserved. So that is why it is called semi-conservative, because one new strand and one old strand is conserved. So that is why it is called semi-conservative method of DNA, isn't it? So let us start with the topic, that is DNA replication. This is the strand, DNA strand, which you have studied in the last topic. These were hydrogen bond between two nitrogenous base pairs, and between two nucleotides these are which bond? Phosphodiester bond. This is hydrogen bond and this is phosphodiester bond. So the first step is unwinding and separation of this strand, the supercoiled strand. So the first step is the function of helicases. Helicases enzymes, it breaks hydrogen bond. Function of enzymes taking part in DNA replication is asked. So what is the function of helicases? It breaks hydrogen bonds and separates the strand, and it gives rise to the templates. Second, function of topoisomerases. This enzyme breaks phosphodiester bond. Phosphodiester bond. Helicases separate the strand, and topoisomerases and chirases, they unwind. That is, they break the supercoiling, and now the strand looks like this, isn't it? These are called templates. These are called templates. And this point where the replication starts is called origin of replication, ori. And it looks like a fork. So this part is called replication fork. This part is called replication fork. So now let us see how the process proceeds. Now these two separate strands are called template. On this strand, the left strand, first primers comes and line up here. Now what are primers? Primers are the short stretches of RNA. Primers are the short stretches of RNA. These are the short stretches of RNA, like this. And they at their one end, that is 3' and hydroxyl group is there. 3' hydroxyl group. They forms the acceptor end of new nucleotides. This forms the acceptor of new nucleotides. That is the function of primers. So children, what are primers? It is asked for 1 mark in board exam, board paper. Define primer and primases. So primers are the short stretches of RNA which have 3' end. Now children, student, now after understanding the concept of or the function of primase enzyme, I will explain you the concept of difference between leading and lagging strand. Now on the parallel and opposite side, this template is called as lagging. This strand is called lagging strand, on which the Okazaki fragment help in the formation of the new DNA strands. These Okazaki fragments are small DNA fragments. These Okazaki fragments are small DNA fragments. And here always the replication of DNA occurs from 5' end towards 3' ends. Like here from 5' ends towards 3' ends. Whenever we will study central dogma also, remember it occurs from 5' end to 3' end, isn't it? Now children, student, these small fragments of DNA which are called Okazaki fragments are finally ligated with DNA ligase. Function of DNA ligase is asked for 1 mark in board, and difference between leading and lagging strand is also asked for 1 marks, isn't it? So these are the concept of difference between leading and lagging strand. This strand is called leading because on this the DNA synthesis occurs continuously. So it leads, but here it lags behind because here the DNA replication occurs with the help of small DNA fragments called Okazaki fragments. Now children, this new strand requires the sources. Sources of these small nucleotides are DNTPs. These are the precursors of small nucleotides. DNTPs are of 4 types: DATP, DCTP, DGTP, and D-adenine, cytosine, guanine, and DTTP. These are 4 sources of these nucleotides. These nucleotides, they line up and they form the new strands. And finally, student, the overall reaction, DNA replication occurs in the presence of DNA polymerase, enzyme DNA polymerase. Because it is DNA replication, so it occurs in the presence of DNA polymerase. Similarly, when we will study RNA synthesis, that is transcription, in another part of the course, then RNA synthesis occurs in the presence of RNA polymerase. But that we are going to study in transcription when we will study central dogma and protein synthesis.